Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track from an act named Lazarus Benson titled Relapse. And if we switch over here, we have the video on this YouTube page, Lazarus Benson Relapse official anime music video. Relapse is a song I wrote based on the time I turned to pills and drinking when my niece died. I took a hard toll on me because I had suspected that the pills and drinking would make the pain problem go away, but it just made it worse. I hope that I never go back to that and always seek help. If you're feeling down and out, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to hear the Lazarus Benson through that. That's tragedy. That's terrible. But I like the fact that he's telling people to get help if they need it. I think that's a really positive message, and it's absolutely true. If you're going through a difficult time, get help. Look through this track from start to finish. You're gonna listen through it, and we're gonna hear what we think. Let's go. Nice filtering on those guitar parts. Great tone to the distortion. Okay, yeah, it's a really thick sounding distortion tone. Lots of resonance in the mid frequencies. The drums are sidechaining the mix. I can hear the vocals. I'm still figuring out if I like the balancing of the different instruments or not. I think we double tracked the vocals, which is a smart move, and I think we have also double tracked. I think we've also double tracked the rhythm guitars. Having Demon Slayer as a video behind this and official anime music video is a smart move. Well done putting a scene in it. It kind of balances it out, you know. The little guys, little spider dudes are kind of like the people in your head telling you to do the bad things that'll make you, send you back to where you started. And yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. Great imagery there. It's obviously, it's terrible, but you've got that connection between the audio and visual parts of the experience. Nice cymbal rise there. I dig it. The evoke style matches both the themes well, what he's talking about, and the song, what he's singing about. I think I heard some growlies or something like that at some point earlier on as well. They sounded visceral, but they worked. You know, they worked. Yeah, they don't know you. Well done, Lazarus. Well done. Great. Oh, holy shit, I was wondering if this was going to happen. We got this breakdown here. Great change of pace. I would have been a little bit sad if it was the same original theme the whole 3.5 minutes, because I feel like there's just so much room to develop and kind of grow and mold it in any direction you want with this. You can go for like the approach where things improve and you become a better person, or like through your what you've learned from it, or you find a way to heal from it, or alternatively you can embrace the anger towards the demons and just talk about slaying them and stuff like that. There's all sorts of ways you can work that out. Dude, the drum sounds are good. The drum sounds are good. I'm not sure how we've recorded those drums, whether we've used like an acoustic drum kit or if we've used samples. I think that guitar tone there is great. I would be keen to have a go at mixing and mastering it myself. Or like working with some of those. Just because I feel like if you had a little... the drums could just use a little bit more punch. There's like a weird kind of mid resonance on them that kind of sounds like there's a bit of a filter, and maybe that's a deliberate thing. But if you, this is kind of one of, you know that generic kind of genty kind of like that kind of metalcore kind of vibe. The drum samples that a lot of people use there would really suit this vibe. And I wouldn't usually recommend it, but that's one of the that breakdown there is one of the best I've heard in my reviews so far this year. It'd be great to see how this was mixed and mastered. Again, I don't think it's been done badly. I'm just wondering if there's things we could have a look at differently to kind of improve it, or like to make it go from like good to great. Because I love this part. You know, the way the guitars sound with the vocals sound fantastic. There's a catchy as hell hook. The vocal melodies are phenomenal there. I love the tones of the string instruments, the bass and the drums, and the guitar. And the drums are fine too, don't get me wrong. There's like a graininess to them that I'm being really pedantic about it. But like that to me, if you could get slightly less grainy sounding kicks and snares in there, you'd basically it would just elevate it. It would just elevate it. The grooves you've got there, the drum chops and the fills and everything are phenomenal. I love the pieces. The implementation and the direction of the actual musical, the rhythmic sequences are fantastic. Yeah. I'm getting more used to how the guitars sound with the vocals, and I think the guitar and vocals are actually fantastic together. Again, like there's a lot of, I love the different vocal layers and the way things have been structured and staged. I think that there's a lot of potential in this track to be really, really successful. I think a lot of people are struggling at the moment, and having a song like this that a lot of people can relate to with this kind of vibe fits in really well with the genre. That's heavy as hell. But yeah, man. Again, by the time people are watching this, it's probably already been released. I think they did a great job overall of the mixing and mastering, because again, I can appreciate what they were aiming to go for there. And, by no means am I saying they should over-polish it and make it like a lot of the metal from like the major labels now that's like, oh, auto-tuned vocals and all that kind of garbage. It's just finding a midpoint. Because this is my conclusion of this review of Relapse by Lazarus Benson. The story, I think the story, as we talked about earlier on and reading the YouTube description, is about someone who is struggling with their demons after a tragedy and not coping with the loss there and the feelings that come from that. But they're also determined to not let those demons overwhelm them, They don't want to give up. They want to try and live a better life and get beyond it, and they're doing the best that they can. There were two main sections to this as far as I was concerned. Like, I know there were verses and choruses, but really the main two sections were the breakdowns and then the rest of the arrangement. The breakdowns were my favorite part, but the chorus as well. Once I was fully familiar and sort of, with how the different instruments were arranged and how they were processed and stuff like that, I started really vibing with both parts. The chorus is catchy as hell, dude. The vocal melodies, da 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 ba. It's a really catchy melody. You got triplets on top of it and a nice kind of groove and a little bit of a, you could have just gone for 16ths. Da 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 da, but they're that kind of working with those 16ths and dotted eighths and stuff and that rhythmic, as well as a repetition of those melodies, was a smart move. The storytelling was great. I enjoyed listening through those verses. Lazarus carried the song well with what he was telling, and it sounded authentic and original. No, it did sound original and emotive, and it worked well within like this kind of hard rock metal genre that's going on here. Some new metalcore elements, because if you're not aware, metalcore has actually experienced a bit of a resurgence recently, which is awesome, because I grew up with metalcore as a teenager, and now as a 30-year-old, I get to enjoy more of it, but with slightly better production value, and that's dope. I just hope it continues to be as experimental, you know? Dude, it's such a great time to be alive, man, and reviewing music. We've got ourselves a great singer here, Lazarus, who does the growly kind of screamy vocals really well as well. They were layered over top nicely, and there was great filtering EQ on that, and the technique was solid, and we were comfortable within the vocal range. Again, I mentioned the structuring being like a verse, chorus, breakdown thing, and I think that was great. We didn't need any solo sections or anything like that. I think it was fine without that. You know, we didn't need to over-egg the pudding, so to speak. The performances from the drums, the guitar and bass, like, aside from what I was talking about just with the drums and stuff, that was an EQing thing, I think. It was an EQing thing with the drums and stuff. Aside from that, like, the actual guitar riffs and the different phrasings of the rhythm and lead parts, they were phenomenal. You know, the overall arrangements were great. The changes in tone were great between the breakdown and main chorus verse motifs. Nice lead parts over top of the chorus as well. That matched well with, there was unison, a sense of unison with the vocal melodies and stuff, so there was a nice, everything kind of flowed well together, and lots of change with the way things were phrased and paced, and all in all, it was a very interesting accompaniment to what Lazarus was doing on the mic. The production, the recording, mixing, and mastering was sensational. I want to say sensational because it was, but I also remember spending like a solid minute talking about how I wasn't totally okay with like the drum sounds, you know, because I'm being honest here. I just feel like if there was a little bit more punchiness to it, if they had less of a, it's like they had like something scooped, like a filter on them or something like that. I just would like to hear the raw drums that were used initially before the mixing and mastering process. I just feel like if there was a little bit more of that initial sound in them, or maybe the samples just sound like that and we could use different samples. I'm just wondering if there's a way to maybe change them before we actually release this to the public at all, if there is a chance, because I think for future releases, if you can get that drum tone right, you've got the guitars, you've got the bass, you got the vocals, you got everything you need, and you can get a distinct drum tone that sounds good without it being that generic, like clicky bass that is like, you know, SS Drummer 5 or whatever the hell, you know. It doesn't need to be generic, but it's finding a midpoint there. The EQing aside from that was fantastic, you know, because clearly we can mix, which is why I think it is probably the samples of the drums that were the thing here. The mixing, mastering, you know, like with the different levels of volume and stuff, you know, the way the guitars and bass and everything else was layered was fantastic. The effects change in different instruments was fantastic as well as the vocals, you know. Padding of different instruments was great, and limiting compression was fantastic. You know, it was nice and loud without being too much. All in all, I'm overall very, very happy with this. I am sorry to hear what Lazarus Benson has gone through, and part of me feels guilty for complaining about one or two of the things in the song, but at the same time, I think it's important for me to be honest with people as a reviewer, because otherwise, how will people be able to trust that I'm being genuine about my reviews? But I think this is a fantastic step in the right direction for Lazarus, and I really hope he continues to make more stuff like this in future, but hopefully with less of the sources of it. Hopefully things improve for Lazarus and he manages to keep those demons quiet, you know, and find a happier path. But thank you very much for watching this review of Lazarus Benson's Relapse. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show Lazarus some love via his various social medias and YouTube page. Stay cool and stay safe, and please also remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as you need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.